the birthday goblin. You know, Athens, Georgia, it's so different from St. Louis. Georgians, you know, they're real law-abiding, you know? I was driving back to St. Louis, and for some reason it had me going through North City, and I stopped at a red light, and somebody came around me to drive through the red light, and I was just like, oh, it feels good to be home. Did everybody in here have a good Valentine's Day? Yeah, I know it's been a while, but I keep ranting about it. I had a good Valentine's Day this year. I might be a St. Louis 6, but I'm at least an Athens 8. I've been going on lots of dates. The guy I'm currently dating, he's a lesbian, and I'm about to explain to you why. First of all, he loves flannel. We've only been going on dates for like a few weeks, but we go on like 2-3 dates a week. They're all at least like 4 hours long, maybe 3 days, who knows? And there's no emotional hang-ups. We're still working on the scissoring, but I think I'm finally getting the U-Haul lesbian experience I always dreamed of. I went on a date with this guy, Zach, a few weeks ago, and I found out recently that he works at the pharmacy I use. I found that out by walking into my pharmacy to pick up my psych meds, of all things, and seeing him behind the window. It was kind of like that meme from Umbrella Academy where it's like the two of them driving past each other in the car going like, what the fuck are you doing here? You know, usually my psych meds are at least like a third date conversation topic, but, you know, Prozac, more like hell no, Zach. I guess I'm gonna have to go with nice knowing you, bud. Speaking of psych meds, anybody in here fan of John Mulaney? Did y'all see his latest stand-up special? The one where he's in rehab? You're never gonna guess where I watched that from. Maybe you will. It was kind of like Rehabception, except for I'm not cool enough to go to rehab for drugs. Like, do I look like the kind of person who would know where to get drugs? Maybe don't answer that question. But yeah, I went to rehab for trauma. That's a thing now. And I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of the shit in rehab. Like we pulled off this cool heist so that we could watch John Mulaney in rehab without anybody knowing. Like there were code words, like it was all very hush hush. And also I joined a triker gang while I was there. You might think I misspoke. No, I actually mean a tricycle gang. They couldn't have bicycles for liability reasons. I've never seen Sons of Anarchy, but I think that's basically how it goes. Yeah, but you know, I've been going on lots of dates, like I said. It's always Bex, you can pull. Bex, you've got game. But it's never Bex, you're so good at being in a stable, long-term relationship, is it? No, some people have butter face. I guess I've just got butter personality. I'm asexual. It means I don't experience sexual attraction. We make up about 1% of the population. If any of you out here have red hair, it's about the same. So if any of you are trying to start a gender master race, you know how small the dating pool is. For me, having sex with someone is kind of like watching anime with someone. Like, I just don't ever wake up in the middle of the night like, damn, I really need to watch an episode of One Piece right now. But, you know, can you imagine if people treated people who don't like watching anime the same way they treat asexual people? It's like, how do you know you don't like watching anime with someone? I'm pretty sure you just haven't watched the right anime. You know, they have them in so many different genres now. Or I bet if you watch anime with me, I could change you. Or like people are always like, are you even human? Come on, like watching anime, that's part of human nature. And I'm like, what does that make me? Some like really poorly designed robot like, sex does not compute. Anime sucks. No, but you know, I gave both anime and sex a really good college try. in college. And, I've watched anime with men, women, non-binary people, and it's very different depending on who you watch it with. Like, when you're watching anime with men, you're always watching it on some mattress on the floor with no top sheet. For some reason, the episodes are always like way shorter. They skip the best part, which is of course like the cool title sequence at the beginning. They skip to the main action. Watching anime with women, they take their time. There's water breaks. There's fluffy pillows and blankets. And they actually know how to work the buttons on the remote control. Get that. No, but sometimes I don't tell people I don't like watching anime on the first date. Like I said, I'm all about the U-hauling. So 2 weeks later, we're at the U-Haul store getting ready to rent our truck. And it might come out that I don't like watching anime. I don't know why that would come up at a U-Haul store, but some people behind the registers, I don't know. All of a sudden she's crying. She's like, "Do you even love me?" I'm sitting here like, "Babe, I'm just saying I won't watch anime with you. Like, not every time you want to watch it at least." And I'm not saying you can't watch anime. You can watch anime with your friend, with some weeaboo you found on Craigslist. You can watch anime by yourself. I've heard from most women it's actually better that way anyway. I also grew up Mormon. So fun fact, autistic people are more likely to join high control religions. They're also more likely to be queer. Take from that what you might, but they always say the Mormon to queer pipeline is real. I think they just mean like not cool autistic to cool autistic. Maybe I'm biased, but I left Mormonism pretty early before I got to college, but I've heard a lot of Mormons in college have this thing called soaking. If any of you have been on ex-Mormon TikTok, I think from the laughter, I'm guessing y'all know what it is, but I'm going to explain it anyway. So soaking is this thing in college that Mormon boys try to use to get around the abstinence rule of not having sex before marriage. And so basically it's where they stick their dick in and then they just lay there. And if they're lucky, they'll get a friend to jump on the bed to get a little friction. That's like a real friend right there. I mean, I think myself as a real friend, but compared to that, I mean, I don't know. But, so Catholics, they have the poop hole loophole. Mormons apparently think God is just one of those T-Rexes from Jurassic Park who can only sense movement. No, but Church of Latter-Days, more like Church of Latter-Gays. I'm just, if I were a missionary, I would just be going door to door in crop tops and jorts, like teaching people how to read tarot and perform drag. Speaking of anal, my friend works for WashU and they have a med school, right? I found out that they have these like mock patients, and no, that's not where they just sit and make fun of and ridicule the patients. They pay people off the street to come in and receive medical screenings and tests and stuff. And apparently they had to limit the number of prostate exams that people could sign up for. I am asexual, no prostate exams for me. Asexual people, we're pretty funny, I think so, but Netflix had that LGBT comedy special, and they didn't have any asexual comedians on there. No, my theory is that they were gonna hire an asexual comedian, like me maybe, but they were gonna offer to pay them way less. And as asexuals, we do not like to get fucked. Coming up next, we have another great round of improv from Spit Take.